Hello, this is Jed Morgan and welcome to WebEx number 7 in the series for the installation and configuration of the IQPBX platform. And in this WebEx we're going to be dealing with voicemail, IVRs, auto attendants and queues. In order to set this up and make sure that things are working okay, we want to touch on ring groups. So our first heading in this WebEx is to the ring groups menu. In inbound call control, if we select ring groups, we can see that there are 3 created already. There is one created in default. I've added another couple as demonstrations, and this is how we add a ring group. So we click on the add a ring group configuration box there, and it automatically assigns us the next available ring group number here. That's the next available ring group number. You can give this a name if you wish. This could be sales. Could be sales. The ring group number. Strategy for ringing: ring all at once or ring sequentially, and then you can set the timer for ringing each member. So again, a bit like outbound, inbound trunks and routes, we select our available extensions that we wish to be in the sales group. So we highlight the extension, double click, they populate the box on the other side, and they are now the members of our ring group for sales. So we look at the timer that rings round each extension, 20 seconds round each extension, and when the timer's expired and there's no call been established or answered, then we look below here and we have a destination if no answer. So we have an option: if a call's not answered at the group, we can send it to a different destination. We can end the call, send it to an extension, voicemail or an IVR, ring group, conference room, or even to a queue. So we have options if the call's not answered in the normal manner, whether it be a DDI call, an internal call to 623, any call that's routed to the sales group. If not answered, it will follow this destination if no answer setting. Okay, so that's simple setup of ring groups. Give the ring group a name, it has a number, the ringing cycles, how many seconds to ring each member, available extensions, move them over to selected, and where you would like the call to go if it's not answered. Save changes and apply them, and it's gone into the system, and there's our new ring group in the bottom there. We can obviously edit the ring group from here if we wish and make any changes required. So ring groups. So from ring groups we'll move on to our voicemail settings. Internal settings, voicemail settings. Click on the heading, and this is where we deal with our general voicemail options for the system. Again, if you're struggling for what any of the menus mean, hover over the instructional informational icon and it tells you exactly what that heading is for. So we can set maximum messages, message times. You can even ask the caller to dial 5 before they leave a message. You can break out from voicemail. So if you listen to voicemail, you can access it, you can have a breakout and then select a destination. Wherever we can select an IVR destination or any other destination. Play busy prompts, unavailable prompts, leave a message prompt. So different options for when you're playing messages back, etc. You can actually have time and date stamp the message. So different options for the actual voicemail settings within the system. And the settings lower down refer to our voicemail to emails headings and settings, where we must have an SMTP server somewhere on the network that's up and working with all the accounts entered into it for the system, the relevant IDs and passwords, etc. And here in my example I have created an SMTP server on my service machine, and I'm using port 25. In my case, because it's a local machine and I don't really need to enter any other email address or password, etc. for accessing my server. You may have to enter these details. If you hover over the icon, it will give you the information it requires, and you can assign it accordingly. You can use security. You can encrypt voice. It supports encryption using SSL TLS. And once you've configured your SMTP settings, you can send a test SMTP. So I can send an email, for example, a test email just to show everything's working, to 500 at Nimans.com, and this should come back with a successful test and probably make a liar out of me. And oh, there you go. I knew it would. I'm not sure whether my server's actually working at the moment or it's on. But it does work. I have tested it, it does work, but that's what I've set up in mine. Okay, save your settings, apply changes. Oh, just realised I do know why it's not working. Let's just go to my settings, switch on my. I used ArgoSoft as a test mail server. ArgoSoft is an easy mail test server, SMTP server that's free download, enables you to check the settings for the system and just prove test emails. So if I did configure mine up and running, yes, it's up and running, so I'll send that email again, 500 at Nimans.com, my domain, test SMTP settings, sends the test email and tests successfully. Okay, good preparation for these WebExes. Have your email server up and running so it shows it first time. Okay, so voicemail settings, your SMTP settings for your email server and fax to email, etc. And from there we can move into our IVRs. This is auto attendant IVR, and we set these up obviously to answer the system at the front end or have DDIs routed to an IVR, etc. So different methods of having an inbound call route to the IVR. So we'll create an IVR. We have one in default here, but we'll create one for an example, and what we'll do is we'll name this one night AA. The prompt, when we discussed earlier having all your prompts pre-recorded at the beginning, part of our logical setup, we said have the custom prompts already loaded up into the system, and this is one of the reasons why. We just simply drop down the box, and if I'd have recorded an entry for nighttime, it would already be here, and we would select the greeting for the nighttime. Or if you hadn't recorded the greeting, you could simply click on the prompt here. It will take you out of that menu and back over to the record custom prompts. So we want to record a custom prompt. File name we'll call AA night. The extension number we wish to record the greeting on. I'm using a remote extension from home, so hopefully we'll have a recording on this one. Hit record, the phone rings. Leave your message after the tone, and when you're done, press the hash key. Our offices are now closed. However, if you'd like to leave a message, please press 1. If you'd like to call our out of offices engineer, please press 2. Many thanks for calling. Bye bye. Okay, you put the handset down, recorded our nighttime prompt, and if we look at our screen, it's not appeared, but again, as we talked about, a refresh icon at the top. If we hit refresh, it's now recorded our nighttime greeting. So if this was all recorded at the beginning, we go into our IVR, add an IVR, name would be AA Night, AA Night, and the prompt, drop the box down, and there's our prompt for night. How many times we want it to repeat, we'll just repeat it once. And key timeout, this is the number of seconds it waits before you dial a digit or an extension number. And enable direct dial is where we allow you to dial the extension number while you're hearing the greeting. So if you know the extension number you require, please dial it now. Check this box in order to add that feature to the IVR. Okay, you can leave it unchecked if you don't wish to dial the extension number. Okay, so on action 0, we can have no action, and digit 1 we can have go to an extension or to voicemail, where we can leave a message for the night time in an extension's mailbox. It can be reception if you like, it can be in their mailbox. And digit 2 would be to if we wanted it to go to an external number, we could send it to a ring group or an extension that is a virtual extension with a forward on to the external number, and I'll just show you how to set that up while we're here. So we can set to extension 203, which is not used by anyone, or it could be a virtual extension. We can set that, and then down here we have options for the hash and the star and timeout. So if nothing's dialed, we can select an action to take, a destination for the call to go to, or hang up. And if it's an invalid option, if they dial an incorrect digit, then again we can either hang up or send it to a different destination. And also in here, if you wish, you could have what we call secret actions. So we make the announcement, as you heard me say before, options 1 and 2, but for internal use we could have an option 6. This could be in a memo to all the staff if you wish to come in and connect to your voicemail, or call a ring group directly, or go into a conference room. Press this option, but it may not be announced within the message. So secret options certainly valid even though they're not announced. Okay, so that's the settings for our auto attendant, actions, etc., and what we want it to do. And we save the settings, apply the changes, and quickly look at that divert to an external, say a night service engineer or something like that. So you have somebody on night duty who's going to answer the phone should they select option 2. So in extensions, edit options for that extension 203, which is going to be our night mode, and we would set an always divert, uncheck those two, to a number, and this can be to an engineer's mobile number for night time. So it would be 90797979799. Save the details, apply the changes. So our IVR now is set up for night mode. Okay, so at night time, when the system uses business hours or non-business hours, so daytime is business hours and nighttime are non-business hours, the IVRs will be followed as we've created them here. This is for nighttime. Okay, so IVR, very straightforward to set up. I think a lot of the menus in the IQPBX, I think you'll agree, are very simple to set up. The daytime message, we set the daytime one will be AA day, and we can select our options here. Go to ring group 2, and the ring group would be sales, etc. Dial 3, we'll go to ring group 622 and dial 4 if you wish to go to a different IVR, to go to a conference room, to go to a DESA connection, or to join a queue, to go to a queue, a bit of call center queuing. You could send the call to a queue 600 if you dial 4. So if you wish to queue for accounts, please dial 4 or something of that nature. Again, other options, timeout, etc., invalid, can be applied. So IVR, fairly straightforward, easy to set up. Multi-level IVR, so we can send one IVR to another IVR through an option, then through that IVR send it to another IVR through that option. So we're not limited, as there are no license charges, again, no license fees applicable. Brings us nicely onto queues. This is where we create a queues for a bit of a call center, if you like. And this is our default queue. Looking at one here that's been created. Okay, so what we say here is the queue can have a name. So this could be sales queue, it could be accounts queue, it could be the main queue. Queue number, which is its internal dial number. A password, the password that an agent can use to log on to the queue when they're coming on for duty. They need a password to log on to the queue. You can set that or you can leave it blank. Agent timeout. Number of seconds an agent's phone will ring before it's considered a timeout. And move on to the next available agent. Okay, so you can adjust that timer as you wish. Number of seconds a caller can wait in a queue before being pulled out. You can set it to 0, it will be unlimited, and then just stay in the queue. And we even have a queue ring strategy. So the flexibility there with how we set the calls to ring at the queue, depending on the application. So for this queue, again, if we've given it a name of accounts or sales or purchasing, we add the relevant extensions into the selected, and we can move down to the queue options. We set some queue options where we can say, would you like it to announce a position in the queue? Projected hold time can be announced providing it's not less than 1 minute. If the projected time is not less than is less than a minute, then you will not get the announcement. But if it's longer than a minute, you'll be told how long you've got to wait, or projected how long you've got to wait. How often those messages are played. Periodic announcements, these can be comfort messages. Again, going back to our custom prompts, you would have recorded these earlier at the beginning. Custom prompt is so sorry, your call is important to us, sorry to keep you holding, please wait, and then we can set the timer for them. And in the event, during these announcements being played, we can opt to dial a digit, any digit, and if we dial that digit during that announcement, we can pull ourselves out of the queue, or the caller can pull themselves out of the queue and take the following action: transfer to the operator, another ring group, a different IVR, or to a conference room. So limited destinations for an event, but again, they are available. If it's considered a timeout, the failover destination, we don't lose the call, we can send it to a different destination, set that in there. And other little options during the queue, while they're in the queue, we can set a different music on hold, so we can have a different music on hold prompt uploaded as before. We discussed this earlier in one of the other WebExes where we uploaded music on hold prompts in the correct format, and we can select them to be the music on hold for this particular queue. So this could be announcements on a purchasing, it could be sales, it could be announcements on the products that are available on sale, etc., or it can simply be music, your choice. Options within the queue, all you've got to do is hover over the blue instructional informational icon and it tells you what that option is for. Okay, I'm not going to go through each one, they're self-explanatory, very straightforward, and we give a retry before it will try all the phones again if you wish, and we can have a wrap-up timer for the agent. So before they join the queue to answer another call, they can have a wrap-up timer. So quite flexible call queues. Again, no licensing fees involved. It's all built in the box, all free. Save the options for the queue, apply the changes, and that's done. That is selected. Another useful added feature for IQPBX is in the menus under inbound call control. We have a heading called blacklist, and what we can do here is if we have phone numbers that are known to us as undesirable, both inbound or outbound, we can type the number in here, and that could be an outbound call. Save. So anybody trying to dial this number will not be allowed to do so. We can add another number. So another number, incoming call, could be from this number, inbound, and save, or indeed it could be both. We don't want them to be called outbound and we don't want it to come inbound. So very nice little feature, blacklist. And on that note, I'll end this WebEx to do with routing and IVRs, voicemail, etc. and queues. Okay, many thanks for listening. I'll speak to you on the next one.